Mean, median, mode, and range. 4 different types of averages, and we need to know how to work out them all. So, let's start with the mean. Why is it called the mean? I don't fucking know. Maybe because it's the hardest one to do, so it's a bit mean. That's the way I like to think of it. So the way we do this is we add them all up and divide by how many there are. So we're going to add all these numbers up. There are 10 numbers here. Add them up, just so happens to equal 48. And then divide by how many there are. Well, there are 10, like I said. 48 divided by 10. Well, this will probably be on a non-calculated test. So you need to know your multiplications and divisions of 10. So 48 divided by 10 is 4.8. And because these numbers are in order, we can say, well, does that make sense? 4.8 would be sort of between here. Yeah, pretty much. We can see that that looks about right. Now, the idea of these numbers being in order is really important, especially for these next two. The median is the middle value. Median sounds like medium. That might be a good way of memorizing it. To find the middle value, we want to sort of chip away at each end to end up with at least 1 or maybe 2 numbers that are in the middle. So I like to use chunking for this. I don't like to just go 1, 1, 2, 2 like that. I like to maybe chop away 2 or 3 at a time. So if we chop away 1, 2, 3 of those, and then 3 from the end, then we can, it's just, I find it easier. Then we can maybe do another one. And look at that, we end up with 2 here. 2 numbers in the middle. So there's not a single median value. So what we have to do is find the number in between those. So it should be relatively straightforward. Number in between 4 and 5 is 4.5. Now it's essential that those numbers are in order of size to work out the median. That's literally the whole point. If they're all jumbled up, then it's irrelevant trying to find the middle value because they're not in the right order. So that's probably the first thing you should do. Mode, well, that means the most common. Mode sounds like most. That might be a good way of memorizing that. So the most common number here is obviously the 4. We could figure that out without having them in order, but when we put them in order, it makes it much easier to see. So that's going to be a 4. And in the range, that's the biggest, take away the smallest. So 7, take away the 2. Again, much easier to figure out when you've got them written in order. 7 take away 2 is 5. That's it. Okay, let's find the mean, median, mode, and range of these numbers. Now these numbers are a lot bigger, so it might seem like it's more difficult, but the same rules apply. First thing to note is these numbers are not in order. So I'm going to rewrite them in order from smallest to biggest. So now that that's done, we can get to work. You might notice I put a dash through these. As I was writing each one of these out, I sort of ticked it off to know that I was done with that number. So let's start with the mean. Now, don't worry, this type of question will be on a calculated paper. They're not going to really expect you to add up all of these numbers and then divide by 8, which is the number of numbers there are. So let me just grab my calculator. So these numbers add to make 1357. And we're going to divide that by the number of numbers, which is 8. And when we do that, we get 169.625. So the question will probably tell you to leave it to the nearest whole number or 1 decimal place or something like that. But all we really care about right now is checking that that makes sense. 169, it's going to be between these two. Yeah, bang in the middle. It makes sense. Okay, let's go for the median now. So remember what median stands for. Sounds like medium, so we'd say that goes in the middle. So we're going to knock off chunks from either side. So let's take 3 from the beginning, and we'll take 3 from the end. And once again, we're left with 2 in the middle. Now that's not a problem, as long as we remember that we've got to find the number in between those 2. So there's a couple of ways of doing it. You can find the difference, which is 4, and so halfway would be 2 from either one. Or you could find the mean of those numbers, but I don't think we need to in this case. The number in between 167 and 171 is 169. Now we're going for the mode. Remember what mode sounds like? Sounds like most. So looking at these numbers, which one do we have the most of? We've got 2 171s, and we've got no other multiples of any others. So that's quite straightforward, 171. And now the range. Biggest, take away smallest. 190, take away 151. That should be 39. So again, you can use some column method subtraction if you need to. or you can just do it in your head.